today is take you through a brief overview of the ADP Celergo portal and show you how you can manage all your global country payrolls through one simple, easy to use user interface. So as an administrator, you'll be able to access and view each country payroll. You'll also be able to see what stage they're up to in the payroll process. And you'll notice as I hover over each step, it's the same steps in every country, which makes it nice and easy and streamlined to manage the payrolls. Also on the dashboard, you'll be notified of any upcoming events and any overdue events. And your client account manager is also monitoring the same dashboard to make sure that they're keeping you informed. So let's have a look at the payroll in a little bit more detail. So we really want you to focus on three key areas: uploading and approving your payroll changes between last pay and this month, approve the payroll register, which is the gross to net calculation, and finally we want you to approve the funding, which lets ADP know that we can now finalise the pay and make the lodgements to the various tax authorities in each country and provide you with the banking file to pay your employees. So let's look at those different steps in a little bit more detail. So the first step is to upload and approve the payroll changes. So these might be things like any bonuses, any commissions, any changes to any allowances and deductions that may have occurred between last pay and this pay. So these changes may have occurred during the month, and then we'll present them back to you at the end of the pay to approve that particular step. So as you can see, for my Australian payroll, I've got some bonuses and commissions. Once I approve that stage, that lets ADP know that we can now run the payroll register in that particular payroll, which just provides you the gross to net calculations and a summary of each employee and what they're going to be paid. And you'll have the ability to either approve or reject that particular process. Once you've completed that step, the final step is to approve the funding, which is just a summary of the net pay and what's going to come out of your accounts, and the lodgement lets ADP know that we can now make the lodgements in those particular countries. You also have access to your payroll calendar at both the monthly level and a yearly level, and we'll build out this calendar with you with your different pay dates, cut-off dates during the implementation phase. So that's really the payroll processing in a nutshell. So let's look at some of the other ways that we can make changes to the different employees and some of the reporting side of things. So in terms of making changes to employees, there's a couple of ways we can do that. We can simply click on the country, which will then give me a list of the active employees in that particular payroll. And I can simply click on the employee's profile and I can make a change to some of their information directly from the system. Nice, quick and easy. Every change that you make is audited and tracked, so that way from an audit perspective we know who's made the change, which user, the old value and the new value, and so on. You can also use the portal to add new employees. So you can either download a template form, or what I like to do is use the new employee function to send out the notification directly to the employee so they can complete some of their own onboarding. You simply click on the Add Employee button, enter in some of the basic information about the employee, select which country they're going to be in. This is a really important step because depending on which country I choose, the form will dynamically change to ensure I'm picking up all the relevant information that I need for that particular pay. So once I've keyed in the employee, I can key in their details. I can type in their email address, click on Send to Employee, and then from there, it'll send out a secure link to the employee, which they can then click on the link, which will take them into a secure portal where they can complete some of their own onboarding. So here you can see, because I chose China, it's showing in both in English and in Chinese. They can complete their personal details, their address, banking details, and because I've chosen China, it's now got some country-specific data for China. Things like their tax category, their passport information, and they can browse and attach that document. And then once they've completed their portion of the onboarding, they would click on Submit. And as the administrator, I could come into the new hire management, review, complete their onboarding by putting in their salary details, their costing information, and then I could submit that through to ADP, who can then add it to the various payroll and get it ready for the appropriate pay period. So now during the review stage, if I scroll down, you'll see it'll have the country-specific data and some of their salary information and costing details. Okay. In terms of making payroll changes, again, you can do it via the portal, and there's a number of ways we can do that. We can either do it directly via the portal, or we can also do a bulk upload. So if you had a number of changes, you could simply download the template, complete the information, and then simply select the file and upload that information. So if I just selected the Australian payroll, for example, select which pay period it relates to. In the top right, you've got the ability to download the template, but in the interest of saving time, I can simply click on the portal, click on my file for Australia, and click on upload. While it's doing the upload, it's validating that I've got all the right employees, the right pay codes, and it's also doing that validation during the import. So as the payroll administrator, again, I've got the ability to review that before I do actually submit it through for the payroll. So that step we looked at about approving the changes, this is where we could enter those changes in. So here again, I've just got some bonuses, which if I'm happy with, I would simply submit. Then once you've submitted all those changes, a key area is the reporting side of things. So within the solution, we can also hold your exchange rates, where we can then allow you to report on in different currencies. So let's look at some of the global reports that are available. So these reports are the global reports, and they're the same regardless of which country you're in. So they look and feel the same. Again, just trying to make it easier and simpler for you to manage the payrolls in each country. So you've got things like your variance report. So this allows you to compare your pay runs between last pay and this pay to check for any discrepancies or variances that you might want to highlight. Now remember, your client account manager, they're also validating this as part of their exception handling as well. So hopefully by the time it gets to you, you're only reviewing and checking for anything that we've highlighted as part of the process. So here we can see some variances as both a dollar amount and a percentage. And the other key report that our clients like is this transaction report. And this is the basis that we use to create your general ledger file. But with this report, you can run it either for a single country or for all your countries. But for today, I might just run it for Australia. I can select my date ranges. So I might run this for the current period. But you can see, because it's a database, I could also run it for multiple periods. So rather than just running it for a particular period, I can run it for financial year, I can run it for calendar year. And I've also got the ability to convert that report in the various currencies. So again, I'll just review that report to the screen. And while that's running, I'll just let you know that you can also export this information out to Excel. So if you did want to do some further analysis, you can also do that through here. So as you can see with this particular report, it now has a breakdown pay by pay, but it also includes things around my general ledger, debit and credit codes, my costing information, the exchange rates, if I've got them loaded, as well as the costing detail and some of these additional fields that you can relabel and use them for your own reporting purposes. Okay, and then finally, you do also have the ability to run a data warehouse report. You've also got things like summary reports at an aggregate or cost center level, but you can also create a ticket directly from the system as well. And this is just your way of communicating with your client's account manager and tracking any queries that you may have. And as a single point of contact, they're the person responsible for managing that information. So at this point, I might just pause and see if there's any questions.